It feels good to be out here. It's been a while since I've last been in the backcountry like this. I like it. Feels good. You know, when I'm down in the valley, I'm always thinking about somewhere else that could be nice to live. Not that I don't enjoy the valley. I love down in the valley, especially when the weather's great. Having a pool is amazing. Riding your motorcycle anytime is great. Not dealing with super cold temperatures and snow is also good. But something about me, probably just because of the connections to my memories and how I was raised, I like the mountains. So I'm always thinking about where might be nice in the mountains to live. I sort of always rode off near the Flagstaff area because we've been in the town and it's not like, a premier ski town or anything super special, but going back through that area today, seeing the terrain, maybe just the new lens that I'm looking through, it was nice. Could be a goal. And could be great. Then we don't have to leave Arizona. Would hate to leave Arizona. It's such a wonderful place. So we're out scouting for this hunting trip that I have been documenting my training for and little introduction for. And as I was saying, it feels good to be out here. Being out in these trees, these temperatures, the mountainous air, feels good. I'm going to just show you what I'm doing and take you along for what I'm doing today. So there's not a ton of time left until the season opens for deer in Arizona. I think just over a week, potentially. It's the 22nd that it starts. Now, that's not when I'll be going. I won't be going for that opening weekend. I'll be going a little bit later in the season. It goes from August 22nd in Arizona until September 11th, the first archery season. And then right after that, September 12th, is the opening archery for elk. Personally, I don't have a ton of experience hunting. I mean, first of all, I'm no expert hunter. I hunted a lot with my dad as a kid, and then I was able to hunt myself, still with my dad and his friends, until I was about 15, 16. And since then, with some life changes and different things that have happened since then, I haven't been able to hunt a terrible amount since then. So I was around some good hunters when I was younger and picked up some good things from them, but I'm by no means an expert or, anything. I'm just out here trying to learn and get better myself. So my experience though has never been in flat, open, sagebrushy, very minimal vegetation, very minimal hillside type of topography. It's always been mountainous. I grew up in Colorado. I hunted out on the western slope, and it was mountainous, near timberline, higher elevation, aspen trees, all that stuff. So for me, picking an area in Arizona, it was important to me that I had similar topography. So that's kind of the part of the state that I've chosen. And I'm going to show you some of the stuff I've brought, some of the tools that I'm using to get it done. I'll tell you right now, looking at what I'm looking at here, I think my scouting plan was a little bit ambitious, and I'm probably going to have to go to a plan B. When you're not bringing all your supplies in and all your emergency preparation, food, water. I'm obviously bringing water, but not like all my water. I can't overcommit myself today, and I think my scouting plan might be an overcommitment. Just looking at what I'm looking at, I was planning on going pretty high up, and on the map, that certainly looks a little bit easier to do than when you start seeing how high up high is. Okay, so I thought I'd just show you a little bit of the tools I use. So I started with the Go Hunt app for my mapping. I didn't want to pay two softwares, and I really loved the tools that Go Hunt offered you. I'll show you them. So under research, actually, if I don't have service, it might not work, but I love this state profile option, and you could choose Arizona, for instance, and you could just go and you could learn more about like the specific units. And there was a different unit profile. So like, let's show you if I wanted to hunt mule deer in Arizona with a bow, it would show you some of the hunts. And this was something that I liked, was to filter or sort by the applications. So then you could see like which ones were the most desired, how many people are putting applications in. So like for instance, 13B here, pretty desirable at 1,100 applications. The odds are pretty low to get it. The buck to doe ratio is pretty high, and it's a lot of public land with some trophy sized bucks, it looks like. But you could go learn more about the unit right here with the unit profile. So you could see it's in the northern Arizona part. Can get a little description. And then, down here further, you could see how large it is, the elevation range, some tips and experience from Go Hunt, some pictures, which was helpful for me on my search to see the pictures, because then I could kind of really see the topography. And as I mentioned earlier in the truck, this type of terrain, I have no familiarity with at all. This open terrain, just like sagebrush and everything, pretty crazy. So that'd be a new hunting style for me to learn that. But go through the different units and learn these different things. And then on the map, some tools I really found handy to also view the terrain was this 3D tool. So switch to 3D, and now you can really get a lay of like how the land looks, how it feels when you're there. So you can see you have all this data now that you can see. That's where I've planned my hunt over there, and that's where you can see all that stuff. But yeah, now I can see as I cruise through here, this unit, I can see, okay, that's kind of what it's like. It's these canyons, it's these cliffs, it's not a lot of vegetation, etc. So that was super handy. And then the different map layers, I find this hybrid layer useful for me with the topo lines and satellite. So I really like that. And just showing you the elevation lines and everything. And basically what I would do is, let's get to an area that I'm a little bit more familiar with. So for instance, unit 22 here, if we go to satellite, we can start to see data. Okay, so firstly, you see on here these blue lines. That's going to be all the different water that's marked on the map. They may or may not be there, just depending on how much water you have that year, how different things are running off, etc. But you have that. Then you have the different trails. That's what this black line is. That's a trail. And you can go through and you can add all kinds of different filters. So for Arizona, I can go in and I can go, okay, roads and trails. I want to see any motorized trails, any actual trails, and it'll break that down for you. Another good thing is the terrain. So if you feel where you're at, the animals are going to be at a certain elevation band, you can filter by it. So say I think they're going to be here in this 7,000 or 5,500 to 7,000, as well as the 7,000 to 8,500. Well, then it's going to put that on the map in different colorations so you can see where those elevation bands are, and you can get a feel for those different layers. And then it's really easy. So you basically, using topo, you find the different high points. And for instance, right here, where the crosshair is, this is going to be a south-facing slope. This one here is a north-facing slope. And we know animals tend to like north-facing slopes or east-facing slopes just for sun and shade. So for instance, you can say, okay, here's a spot I want to look. I want to glass. Now where's a spot that I can actually glass from? So like maybe on this opposite side over here. And to confirm that, you can go 3D and then spin your map around. Sometimes with your fingers, it's a little tricky. Definitely planning this on the computer is easier and having your hunt ready. But so basically, now you can look over here and see there's that north-facing slope right over here where it says 5,000 on that elevation band. And this could be a spot. Okay, now I know that's a spot I like. And now I can just mark. So here's the top of a mountain, for instance. That's where I want to glass. Hit my little waypoint. Boom, I select this. I go to my favorites, and you have glassing right there. Boom, and you can customize colors and everything like that. And that just gives you an idea roughly on how you want to structure your hunt, where you want to look, where you might want to glass from. So that's the Go Hunt app at a glance. Another thing that I liked was this upper right hand corner, you see the cloud. If you tap that, wherever the crosshair is, it gives you a pretty good idea on the weather. You have 77 degrees right there. It's got a wind going from the southeast about 2 miles an hour, and you got a sunset time as well as pressure, and you do have a slight little forecast there with the currently partly cloudy with a calm breeze. So I like that. I also love when you tap a spot. So say you're at that spot and you just want to know like what's your elevation at that spot. You can see right there, if I was right there, it's 4,400 feet. You got your coordinates right here that you can copy if you need to use those to travel to it or to give for an emergency reason. Overall, I felt like Go Hunt had a lot of features, and to not pay for 2 subscriptions like another one like Onyx, or I think I've heard somebody mention like Spartan Rogue or something. Go Hunt had a lot of what I was wanting, so I just was like, yeah, Go Hunt's great. You also get perks in their shopping and their membership and stuff. And you can see this upper left-hand corner, you have the little cell signal. If you tap that, now you can see what your maps are like offline. Now, I've already downloaded the maps. You need to download them or else your offline maps will not work. So you go in here, library. And so see how Arizona next to it has a check mark that's downloaded? If I wanted to download Alaska, for instance, I'd hit that little arrow down, and that's how I download it. But so got Arizona downloaded, and now I can use it offline. So that's basically what I did. I went through and I marked glassing spots. I went through and I marked water. I marked north-facing and east-facing slopes that I want to look at. I marked grazing areas where I think they may graze. And I also marked like elevation band changes. So I'm looking for high country mule deer, hopefully a buck. That'd be the plan. And sometimes they can ride those elevation bands. So right there in the middle, it shows you with that great tool on Go Hunt, you can see the elevation bands, and you can mark those areas that are high probability areas that they may be. So you can also look at the trails for access. That's how I got to this dirt road I'm at right now, was finding a trail for access, and it's a really useful tool. So that's one tool that I used as far as scouting. Okay, as far as gear that I brought for this spotting trip, pretty obvious. Just brought my harness. Brought my rangefinder just to check some ranges in case I wanted to do that. Brought binoculars, small pair, 10 by 28 Vortex Diamondbacks. But do the job, that's what I've got. Couple tools. Flashlight, knife, just for some, emergency type items, just in case type items. I have my pack, the EXO 3500 EXO Mountain Gear, and I have it loaded down with basically clothes, just in case it gets colder as I go higher up or the weather shifts. I have trekking poles in case things get really hard and I'd like the 4-wheel drive. I've got some water purification and a Camelback with my source bladder right here. And that's pretty much it. I wanted to keep it obviously light and streamlined while I don't need to carry the weight just to do this scouting. So no tent, no hygiene stuff, no cook stuff, no food, different things like that. I did just bring a couple items like a protein shake and protein bar, just for some quick bites and quick sustenance, but that's it. Of course, I've got similar layers to what I would have if I hunted up here, so I can get used to some of the clothes I might bring. And I also am bringing my primary hunting boots so that I can also be comfortable in those. So that's the kit. Nothing to it left but to do it. So let's go ahead and get this pack on and get after it.
because I've seen about 3, maybe 4. And I know I've busted a couple more because I've heard some things off in the distance. And just some cracks and twigs and things like that. The wind has been real swirly. It keeps switching up and down, up and down. The thermals are definitely changing as well as the day heats up. But just wanted to check in. This stuff is real thick. It's way thicker than it looks on the maps. So you can't really get a good idea of the vegetation and what the trees are like until you're here. So I'm finding out that it's pretty thick. And basically, I'm not sure how much glassing opportunity I'll get. When I saw where I wanted to go, it's pretty steep. It's up there. I think I'd be able to glass, but it's a commitment for sure. So right now, I'm just looking for glassing opportunities as I go up. And I'm not seeing much. I'm on a main trail right now. Not a lot of sign on this trail. I did see some runners run by me as well, so probably somewhat active of trail. And not really a ton of sign. Before I was on that trail, I was walking through some of the timber, and I did see some tracks, but not scat or fresh, anything like that. No beds yet. But yeah, that's just an update, so I'm definitely going to need to get off this trail. If I want to find something, I'm sure of that. But I'm kind of using it to try to get where I want to go, so that's the check-in for now. We'll see if I get to the top or do a good glassing spot, and I'll check in again. I just had some hikers hike right by me. Obviously, I've been taking my time and stopping and listening. So, hikers just hiked by me. They just looked like regular hikers to me. I don't think they were hunters. It's not great. Now they're in front of me. You know, and they probably don't care about any of the animals, so I'm going to have to get somewhere else if I want a good opportunity at, seeing anything. So that's just an update, kind of a bummer. I don't know. It is what it is. We'll just have to see. But just wanted to update you. I literally just filmed my last update. But they walked right by me when I was putting away the camera. So here we go. I guess let's just keep going. I gotta find a way off this route. I just came from down there. And I just passed another 6 people or so. Where I want to go is up here. It's hard to tell, but that goes up pretty high to where you get to some of the peaks. But this is kind of like one of those national forest type trails right now. You're seeing people commonly. I don't know if that's necessarily good or bad. My experience hunting is not great because people usually will spook them. But, you never know. Like you think Yellowstone, right? They're used to them. They kind of just walk out in the open. But then again, it's not Yellowstone, so you never know. Next update here. It is not too much later. It's only 11:15. I'm saying that for the mic purposes, but anyways. So I gotta find a way to get up and over this ridge because this trail I'm on, popular trail, and it's just not gonna work, I don't think. I need to get away from this population. So that's what I'm looking to do. There's literally 2 people I saw that just walked in front of me as well. So kind of running into people everywhere. We'll see. I haven't seen a lot of sign, but I am on these major thoroughfares where if you're a deer, you're kind of smart. You're probably going to avoid them. But I may have to change plans. And that is the purpose of scouting, That is the point. We want to learn what the area is like. So I'm going to try to follow this down to where I think I could maybe start to go up. But going up is going to be a bear. Speaking of a bear, the 6 people I passed said they did see bear scat. I haven't seen anything. Luckily, we're here in Arizona, so it's just black bear. You know, where I'm from in Colorado, you'd see black bear a lot. Those brown ones, those are the ones you don't want to be around. Not that any bear is a good one to be around, but to be honest, I'm more scared of cats. And the reason I'm more scared of cats is because you'll never see a cat. Not until they're right on you. But just to check in, I don't know what I'm going to be doing yet. We'll see as we go. So I really hope I can get to a glassing spot and start to look out. And I also hope I can get away from these park trails. So let's go. I finally started to create my own trail and go up this mountain. We've got about 1,000 vertical feet to go up. Man, it's pretty short, so nice and steep. But the update is I finally saw some sign here. So, as you can see, there's some scat right there. It doesn't look fresh, but it doesn't look terribly old. It doesn't look terribly old either, so that's exciting to see something. I'm going to keep going up. I'll show you. This is what I'm going through right now. Just some thick timber. I came from down here. Down that a little ways is a little creek bed. No water in it. But that's where I've came from, and I'm going to go up here. So I'm going to keep pushing. Just wanted to share. Well, hopefully it's not too windy. It was a big effort to get up here. A really big effort. I mean, the last 400 feet, 400 vertical feet, I was just crawling. So, the vertical feet was actually 2,000. It was from like 9,000 something, like 9,500. And I'm sitting up here at 11,400 right now. And it was every bit as straight up. It really was. I mean, I kept wanting to like crisscross. But I was like, no, let's just kind of freaking prolong this. Let's just get to the top. And disappointment, to say the least, to get here. Mainly because there's still a lot of tree coverage up here. So glassing pockets, hard to see. And the country in front of me is big. The next peak directly south of me right now is about 2 miles away, straight shot. So you figure going down and back up, brutal. So I was trying to look at opportunities closer, in little drainages and fingers and, openings and, to be expected. It's not the best time to see them. It's middle of the day. I gotta wait up here till the nighttime, start seeing them before dusk, So I didn't expect to see them out and about. I know they're bedded right now. But I'll tell you what, the terrain up here is rugged. It's steep.
I don't see a ton of vegetation that they could chew on. And I'll tell you what, I saw 3 deer. Just kicked them right out of their spot, down around 8,000, 8,500. You know, season's not started yet. Are they going to come up here when the pressure goes, you know, maybe? We all know everybody loves a truck hunter. You know, no shame if you're a truck hunter, but, you know, that's where I saw them, basically right off the road. So it was just does too. I'm certainly not going to shoot a doe. I'd rather get a buck, but regardless, I was hopeful coming up because as you saw, when I immediately started coming up here, there was scat in a couple spots, and I did follow some random tracks on the way up in different spots, and I definitely see little thoroughfares, little highways that they be running through, you know, efficiently through the forest, through the timber. I definitely saw those. There are signs of them there. I didn't see a ton of actual tracks. I saw some, but not a ton. And it started to disappear the higher I got. Hardly any scat. I didn't see any beds. And keep in mind, I'm just cutting through terrain. I wasn't following a path or anything like that, so stumbled across something, you never know. But as you saw, I did kick something. I mean, everything had to hear me coming up this. There's a lot of deadfall, a lot of rocks. Everything had to have heard me coming up here. So I know I heard something. It ran off for a bit, kind of that direction and up. I know there was something, but never saw it. And that's that right now. I've just been doing some glassing. I don't have quite enough power to see close enough to really pick things apart. That might be something I have to change because, I mean, glass is going to be my biggest tool. And then also, I've got a tripod. I'm using it for my camera right now. I don't have one for the binos. That makes it difficult too, especially like up in this area. It's almost impossible to sit because you're going to lower your elevation and start to be blocked by trees. So standing's more ideal, but then you're shaky. I was trying to use a trekking pole for a bit. It worked some, but I got to sort that out too. So all in all, not sure about this area. Here directly south of me, there's this trail that goes up by a little house, a little tiny outhouse, don't know what it is. And I saw some mountain bikers going up that on my binos. This area may be a little too recreational, I don't know. I'm not familiar with that hunting, I'll just be honest. Like, where I've hunted in the past is not recreation per se, especially during hunting season. Like, it's hunters, you know. Not just your regular person out on a Saturday doing a mountain bike ride, whatever. That's a lot less common what I'm used to. So, I don't know. Also, each time I go down, if I need to go back up to get on top of an animal, like say on that side of the valley over there, it's a big effort. I'm basically going down 2,000, 3,000 feet in elevation, vertical, and then I'm going to go right back up. You know, maybe not all the way, but some of the way. And in between that valley is quite a big gap too. It's pretty big terrain right here. I did not see anything glassing, but sort of to be expected. It's middle of the day. They're bedded. That'd be what I would expect at least. So, that's the update for now. That's the spotting trip. I mean the
scouting trip. That's the scouting trip. I think it was a little bit of a failure, but then again, it was a success because you get to learn a little bit more about the terrain. And I'll tell you one thing, if you're not going to areas, like if you haven't been there, really hard to tell on the maps what sort of tree coverage there's going to be. This mountain doesn't look like it's a ton of tree coverage, but it's just deceiving because it's tree coverage. When I was coming up on that side behind me, I couldn't see anything going that way. Trees just covered the whole thing. I could not see anything that way, and it's huge open space that way, but no, trees covered everything. So that was something I learned for sure. Some of these higher peaks, they're definitely above tree line, but they're up there. I mean, I'm up there right now. I may be shy a few 100 feet of some of them, but all in all, pretty steep country, vast country, very tree covered country, hard to spot and stalk. So I'm going to have to reevaluate what I'm doing. I do like this valley in front of me. I think there could be some opportunities in there. Hard to say without being able to do an overnight scout. I should have planned that, but I didn't. Because they could come out in these little open areas where I see more grass, more to munch on. But that's a little update right now. So now I've got to go back down that super steep hill. Unfortunately, no easy way about it. At least down is easier-ish. So that's going to do it. I think at the truck, I'm going to show you one more tool that I think you should have that was handy for me. And I'll just kind of do a check-in with you before I load up in the truck and head out. So, time to get down there. Behind me is what I just made it down. And I'm not sure if anybody complains about their knees or anything when they're going downhill, but I don't care what you say. It was a hell of a lot easier to go downhill. It took me way less time to get down there. I tracked my route from the top to the bottom so I could see, how long I've been walking, and I'll have to double it because I'm doing the same route back to the truck. But I saw a bed area, and I saw some old scat, but that's it. There wasn't a whole lot that I saw. I mean, it just seemed older. And unfortunately, I don't think that it was super fresh, and definitely animals have been through there. I just don't know about how recently. So, walking back now, one thing I want to tell you about, if you don't do it already, is these. Let me fix it. These trekking poles. Get yourself a pair of trekking poles. Best thing I've ever done. That made it so easy. Oh my goodness, that was super helpful to have the trekking poles, especially going down. It saved me from falling a couple times. Highly recommend it. I got these ones at REI, and they were in the used section for $76. They're aluminum. They're pretty light. I'm worried about the aluminum only because maybe it'll bend, but I had it pretty torqued in a couple of different scenarios when I was coming down. They didn't bend. So they were like half the price. I mean, just a great deal. Super glad I picked them up. Check the REI used section. It was worth it. Somebody returned it because they said the expandable section falls out. The store representative literally took me to a brand new pair and pulled out the expandable section all the way because That's just how they work. So, nothing wrong with them. Check out REI. But we're on our way to the truck now. I think it's still a couple miles. So, checking with you there. All right, that's gonna do it. I tracked it on the way back. Hopefully it's focusing on that. But it's 4.6 miles from the top all the way to the bottom where the truck is here. And we started at about 12,000 feet, and now we're at 8,100. So dang near 3,000 vertical feet getting up there. It was quite the effort. It took some time, that's for sure. So it wasn't a failure though. The reason I came was for scouting. That was a bit of a letdown. I didn't get good glassing. I didn't see very many animals, like I said, expected, because later in the evening, or during the day. But it wasn't a failure because I went out, I did something hard, I put effort in, I tried. And that's what you can do sometimes. Sometimes it's going to bite you in the butt, and sometimes it won't. Sometimes it's going to pay off. So that's all you can do. That's what this channel is about. That's what I'm trying to live my life by, is just do it, do hard things. The other reason it wasn't a failure is I got to learn a little bit of what this topography is like. It's a lot more wooded than the maps made me believe. So that's going to change strategy quite a bit because there's not a ton of open glassing spots. But let me tell you, as I was coming down here, there's some open glassing area over here in some fields, and the sun's going down. Something about it. It's that feeling, I remember that feeling from when I was a kid. That's when stuff happens, That's when things happen. I have memories of that. And it felt good just walking through those fields with my pack on, with camo, with binoculars. It felt good. So that's going to do it for the scouting video today. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully you learned a couple things. Before I let you go, I want to tell you that one last tool that I was telling you about. So I'm going to record my screen here. But it's pretty sick. It's called Photo Pills. And the reason I like it is for the augmented reality sun. So if you hit this AR button, it's going to pull up the sensors and calibrate them. But you see the line, that blue line on the screen. If you follow that with your phone, you literally can follow the sun's path. So if you're ever wondering like, hey, is that going to be shaded? Is it, etc. What's the sun path going to be like when I'm making that stock? It's free. Or it might not be free, but I think it's only $5. It's not a subscription thing. But you can see the sun's over here. As you can see here, the sun's right there. And you can see the line's going to come down. Sometimes you need to hit this calibration button and put it exactly where the sun is. Just like that, confirm. And then now, boom, there's your sun path. There you go, the sun's here. Right there, you can see it at 6 p.m. and it's 6:12 right now. So, really cool tool. I'd highly recommend it. Like I said, I think it's $5 or something. I don't know, but it's worth it. That's all I got for you. What I was trying to do for all my videos too, I have a verse to conclude this video. Today is Saturday, the Sabbath day. And in honor of that, I want to read a verse about it. It's Exodus 20, verse 11.
This is right in the Ten Commandments. So if you go up a little bit further to verse 8, you'll see the start of the fourth commandment, which is all about the Sabbath. Verse 11, for in 6 days the Lord made the heavens and the earth, the sea, and all that is in them, and rested the seventh day. Therefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it. That's the conclusion of the fourth commandment. And if you notice there, God put a special blessing on a special day. Jesus knew that blessing as well, as it says in the New Testament, as his custom was to honor the Sabbath day, to go to the synagogue. There's a special blessing on the Sabbath. I know that I've witnessed it, the creation of God out here in this beautiful nature that he's created. And I hope that you find a blessing in it too. So that's going to wrap the video. We're done today. So thanks for watching.